All right, everyone. Hello there. This is SciMath Ben. Welcome to my channel, and thank you so much for joining me here in this helpful video. Hopefully this helps you guys out. I want to talk about what's the most easiest method to memorize the 20 amino acids fast and easy. I'm going to do this kind of like in a series or in parts. So this is part 1 of the video. I really hope this helps you out. Okay, so this is how the amino acids are structured. Before we start naming them, or before we start knowing the names of them, I'm going to give you a basic idea of what an amino acid is, or what it's composed of. So the first one you want to think of in an amino acid is that it does contain a central carbon, and then it's attached to another carbon, and on the left side of that central carbon is a nitrogen. So the central carbon is right here. So that's basically what that central carbon means. This central carbon contains an amino group, which is this. And on the other side of the central carbon, it contains, this is a carbonyl. This is a carbonyl group, and alcohol, which makes up a carboxyl group. So that's basically what that is. So now we're going to also put in a H right there because that's the central carbon. And what's unique about this amino acid is that it branches off to an R, which means this is a side chain. So I'm going to label this so you guys take note. This, all of this right here is the amino group. The amino group. This part over here is, there we go, is the carboxyl group. Is the side chain. Okay, so that is what this amino group, or this amino acid is, what it composes of. So the whole point of how these amino acids are structured, you can essentially draw easier way of drawing it. And the way I usually do it is doing it like this. So you have your OH, and then you have the carbonyl, and then you have that, and then you have your amino group and your side chain. So that's how that is composed of. I call this, in a way, a line structure, because we're kind of making this right here into a more simpler structure here. So that's how we're going to structure our amino acids. The next thing we're going to do, as what this is called the part 1 of the video, is we're going to mainly focus on the hydrophobic side chains. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to label this as hydrophobic side chains. And then we're going to underline that. Now, what is the meaning behind hydrophobic? Well, hydrophobic really means the fear of water. So as we're drawing out these amino acids, we're going to see that they are hydrophobic around its surface. The first amino acid, which I think is the most easiest one to remember, but I also have a method to memorize it easily, is alanine. So we're going to start with alanine, which is, that's the word. Here is the 3-letter code and the 1-letter code. And the way it's drawn is as so. You have an OH group attached, kind of like the way your OH, carbonyl, and then you have your NH2, your amino group. Okay, so now you do your carbon, and then that's how the structure looks, right? So now, the way I memorize alanine is by drawing out your H's as such. And then right here in between the H's, I'm going to zoom in here, you kind of draw dashes in between. So that kind of resembles of an A in between the H's, and that really helps me memorize it by naming it alanine. So now we're going to draw it from here on out, we're going to also draw it in this way as well. You can also draw it like this, the way I had drawn it, or you can draw it like this. I call these kind of like a configuration type of drawing, kind of like the easy. I'm going to call this the easy configurations. Configurations meaning like when taught in OChem, you're given like this priority on the right side or on the left side, or whether you have cis or trans orientation. I kind of want to make it into that type of structure. So here we go. So you draw it like this, and then you have your amino group sticking out on this end, and then you have your OH, carbonyl. You can draw these on either or. You can put this here or the carbonyl on this side or the OH on the other side. It really doesn't matter. So that's basically how that's drawn. And then you have your carbon coming out, and this is how I drew it on the other one. And there you go. So that's alanine for you. That's an A, and there we go. That's how I memorize alanine for that structure. Now to the second amino acid, we're going to focus on valine. Valine, VAL, 3-letter code, 1-letter code V. So now to draw the structure as before, we draw it like this. Draw it like this. And then OH pops out. And then you have your O right there. And then you have NH2. And then you draw your 3 carbons going like that, right? Now, I'm going to emphasize a really important trick. So I'm going to draw these 2 carbons right? These 2 carbons sticking out. So this, the way I drew it, is kind of shaped, or it is shaped like a V, right? So there you go. That's how I think about valine. It sticks out of the carbon with 2 carbons coming out of it, meaning that it kind of it does shape like a V. So V for valine, right? There we go. So that's how I memorize it. Now we're going to do the easy config. So now we're going to do it again, the same structure. I'm going to draw it the other way now. And then you have an OH, or the same way. And then you put your NH2. Oops. Erase that. I'm going to redraw this to make it more simpler. Okay, here we go. So there's that. And then OH. And then you have this amino group sticking out. And then here's your V sticking out, right? And then you just kind of draw it upside down. And there you go. That's how I memorize valine on that part of the, that's how I memorize valine for this particular structure. So now the next structure we're going to focus on is leucine. So leucine is spelled as such. I'm actually going to choose a different color. There we go. Leucine. And then 3-letter code LEU. And then the 1-letter code is L. Okay, now to draw this one, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but not as bad as the previous one, which was valine. So here we go. This is how we're going to draw it. So draw your OH, double bond O, and then your amino group, and then you draw a carbon, and then you kind of draw your V, right? But think of this V right here. Think of this V. You're just adding the extra carbon from the valine, right? But think of this V here as an L. So I'm going to delete it to kind of emphasize that a little more. You're going to draw this like an L. Kind of like the way I drew it right here, right? And then you're going to write leucine, like for the 3-letter code. So that's how I memorize leucine. All you got to do is draw an extra carbon sticking out and make your V, or the L in this case, and then that's how you do, that's how you draw leucine. So now we're going to do the easy config, which I like to call. And so here's this. Double bond O, your alcohol, and then your amino group. And then here we go. So 1, 2, and then you make your leucine. There you go, see? Emphasize the L, and there you go. You got your leucine right there. The next amino acid we're going to focus on is isoleucine. This is, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a 3-letter code, the 1-letter code, right? So that is isoleucine, the name, the 3-letter code, and the 1-letter code. Now, the reason why this is isoleucine, think of it as an isomer of the previous one we just drew, the previous compound we drew, which was leucine, right? So yeah, there we go. And this is how you draw it. This is going to be somewhat simpler, but also somewhat tricky, but I'll show you why. Okay, so we're going to draw it like this. Okay, you got your OH sticking out, your double bond O, your NH2, your amino group, and then here it is. So you're going to draw an S shape, right? And then you're going to draw, instead of the V sticking out, you're going to draw the extra carbon on the first carbon. And then the way how I memorize isoleucine is this way. So let me draw a good one there. I'm gonna get a good color. So if you look at the way I drew those dashes, it kind of resembles an I, right? That's the reason behind isoleucine, this structure. That's how I think of it when I see isoleucine. But you can also think of it in the sense of an isomer. It's the isomer of leucine. Okay, so now we're going to do the easy config. See how that looks like in this structure. So we draw our double bond O, or OH, right? And then we draw the amino group, and then we draw the S shape as we see it. And then the way to draw this is, and then you kind of match your eyes, right? That looks like an eye. May not look like an eye, but it does look like an eye in that aspect. And there you go. That's how I draw isoleucine. Okay, the next amino acid is methionine. Is methionine. And then MET, 3-letter code, 1-letter code's M. And this is how I draw it. And as before, your OH, your double bond O, your amino group. And then here is the way you draw methionine. You draw an M. Right? And then you draw that last, right? Okay, now you put an S on the very last, on the third, on the second carbon branched out, right? But that's how you draw it. And the reason why I say draw an M is because it looks like an M emphasized. The way I drew it right there. And the S will go on the last one, on this end right here. Okay, so that's how I draw methionine, and I memorize it. But if we do it in the easy configuration structure, so we draw our double bond O, our OH, our amino group, and then you start drawing your M right here. There you go. And that's how you draw it. Let me emphasize it here again. See, it looks like an M. There we go, methionine. So, and then I also think about for memorizing methionine and the 3-letter code right here, just think about like the New York Mets, right? So the New York Mets, So you have the met for methionine and the S for the extra S. All right, the next structure we're gonna draw is phenylalanine. So here we go. Phenylalanine. And 3-letter code is PHE. And the 1-letter code is F. Okay, this one, it's not as bad. Almost like valine. But instead of putting the V, you're going to put your benzene ring, right? So here we go. Wrong color. Okay, here we go. OH, O, NH2. There's that, right? And like in valine, but now you're going to draw your benzene ring. Okay, there you go. That's phenylalanine. Now we're gonna draw the easy config, so we see it in that configuration. Okay. So here's your NH2, your double bond O, OH, and your benzene ring right there. There we go. So the O means that the double bonds can go on either side of the ring. That's how I was taught in OChem. So there you go. Alrighty, so that's phenylalanine. The next one we're going to focus on is, which is the last one, tryptophan. Tryptophan. Okay, so let me draw that or spell that out. Tryptophan. And then 3-letter code is terp. And then the 1-letter code is W. TRP, 3-letter code, and 1-letter code is W. So now, the way to draw this, okay, there's that. Oh, now amino group is right there, right? Now, same as phenylalanine, 2, but now you're gonna draw the home plate in baseball. So you draw it like this. Make sure you put that double bond right there. Put that, draw your plate. But right here, you're going to put an H. And then, right next to that, then you start making your benzene ring. There you go. It's quite trippy, but that's why they call it tryptophan, huh? Alrighty. Anyway, so that's how you draw tryptophan. And then let's see it in the easy config. All right, so OH, double bond O, NH2. Okay, here we go. So you draw your V, you draw your 2 carbons, and then you kind of start drawing the plate, the home plate. Kind of like that, NH. And then you start drawing your benzene ring right here, like that. Or, as before, draw it like that. There we go. That's tryptophan. Okay, guys, so that will wrap up this video. I hope this helps. Those are we covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 20 amino acids. And we also covered hydrophobic side chains of of the 7 amino acids. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps to memorize all of the 7 hydrophobic side chains of the amino acids. Also, if you like this video, please give it a like, and please subscribe for more. All right, thanks for watching.